When I say role of water, I'm specifically interested in the role of what's called a virtual water. You may have heard what a virtual water is, just by definition. I'll explain it here. If Saudi Arabia purchases a ton of maize from Ethiopia and then bring that ton of maize into their country, they're virtually bringing the water that is used to grow that crop. So that's the sort of definition of virtual water. Now, it turns out that in Africa, there are two forms of virtual water, I should say. The first form of virtual water is what's called the green water. Green water would be the rainfall that has been infiltrated into the soil column that is available throughout the growing season to grow crops. Now, it turns out that in many of these countries that are being invested in, the green water, the importance of green water is big. The problem with the green water is that it's not always sustainable, meaning in Africa, in places like Ethiopia, the availability of green water in the form of rainfall is somewhat unpredictable. So in my view, most of these investments will actually come in and turn the green water resources and add them what we call blue water resources. And blue water would be the form of irrigation where you would dam up rivers and then draw groundwater resources to irrigate crops. And the reason that would be done is mostly to improve yields, to provide sustainable levels of water so that there would be enough payoffs from the large-scale, expensive investments that are made. Now, as a partially trained hydrologist, I'm not very worried about the green water because I think it'll be there. Rains will come, however unpredictable, but I am worried about blue water, especially in places like Africa, in the Nile Basin, where the shares of water is highly contested. So if Ethiopia begins to use the water in the form of large-scale investments for irrigation, then those conflicts will be exacerbated because Egypt, the downstream countries, are extremely interested in receiving their water. They don't want Ethiopia to be using that water for irrigation purposes.